This is Addison Smith with Campus Reform. On day one, President Joe Biden signed an executive order allowing biological men to use women's restrooms, to use women's changing rooms. It also removed some barriers for biological men to be able to compete in women's sports. What do students think about this? Do girls feel at all uncomfortable knowing that any guy can waltz into their changing room? Do they think that this might undermine the whole purpose of having men's and women's sports? I'm here at UVA to find out what students think. Let's go. Joe Biden was just inaugurated last week. His administration's wasted no time getting to work. They signed all sorts of executive orders day one. Given there's so much political division right now, you've got COVID, you've got the shutdowns, the economy's kind of in shambles. So what are some things that you would like to see him take priority in?
Something to help out with COVID, and then also it's just been a lot of division in politics and stuff, and I think he needs to find some sort of way to bring it all together, Republicans and Democrats.
I think definitely getting COVID under control, trying to get the vaccine as much as possible.
Putting that 100-day mask mandate was really important.
I think the most important thing is COVID, distribution of the vaccine. Things have been so unorganized in the Trump administration. I think that Biden's going to come in with the same infrastructure that he had under the Obama administration and just hit the ground running as far as distribution of the vaccine. I think that should be his priority.
Day one of Biden's presidency, he signed a bunch of executive orders. One of those orders was preventing and combating discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity. Hearing that, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a good thing. I mean, everyone's free to decide what they are sexually and stuff.
I think that was a good move.
I think it's a step in the right direction. I know if we want to be a country, that's fair and equal for all, I think we have to, discrimination in all forms need to kind of be reduced and addressed.
Yeah, 100% agree with it. Yeah, I think you did the right thing.
Getting a little more specific on that, one of the stipulations was allowing biological men to use women's restrooms and women's changing rooms. And the other one was to remove the barriers for biological men to be able to compete in women's sports. Do you think that there's any, safety concerns or anything like that? You think that women might feel uncomfortable with that? You guys as girls, is there any problem that you might have with a guy that can walk into your locker room whenever he wants? Are there any concerns that you have with that?
Absolutely. There are women that I know that are very, very religious. They wouldn't even show their hair to a man.
As a man and using the men's restroom, I like my privacy, and it's a little more comforting knowing that there's no women in there using it too.
I don't think a lot of men are just going to randomly walk in. I think it's more for those who are maybe questioning their gender or gender neutral or maybe biologically a male but identify as a female.
Obviously there is the potential of someone coming in that doesn't really have a problem going with the men's restroom or wants to come into the women's restroom.
Women probably would feel pretty uncomfortable. I think that's a pretty big leap.
It doesn't really matter what bathroom a person decides to use, to be honest.
I fully believe that's a concern. That could possibly lead to women feeling uncomfortable in changing rooms.
What do you think about the barriers, with women's sports? Biological men now that identify as women, they can, play in women's basketball, women's track, whatever. A lot of people would say that, there's a obvious biological difference between men and women, and to allow biological men to compete in women's sports kind of undermines it. Do you guys agree with that or disagree with that?
I totally agree with that, yeah. Why would you throw men into a women's sport? If it's going to be a women's sport, you should have biological women competing against other biological women, not someone who thinks they're a woman competing against a woman.
I mean, honestly, I think the bathroom's all right, but I think the sports that's a different thing. I think there's such a big divide between genders and sports and stuff.
Honestly, I mean, these people should have the right to participate in whatever they want. I think it's fine. Yeah.
There has to be a line that we have to draw. Having trans athletes competing in women's division, this is just unfair in a way because there won't be any more real competition in women's sports.
What do you think that'll do for the future of women's sports?
Degrade it.
Hey there, my name is Hannah Catherine Smith and I'm with Campus Reform. To continue seeing videos like these, be sure to subscribe here. And if you're interested in becoming a member of the Campus Reform team as an investigator or a correspondent, you can join the team here. And if you'd like to help us continue making videos like these, donate here.